Hi and welcome to Bounce Around Charleston. 1,000 ministers march for justice Monday, August 28th at the Martin Luther King Jr. Monument, Washington, D.C. Our guest today, Reverend Nelson B. Rivers III, Vice President of Religious Affairs National Action Network, and Trudy Lucas. She's the March Administrator Manager of Religious Affairs for the National Action Network. Thank you for being here on Bounce Around Charleston.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you for having us.
1,000 ministers? Tell us about that.
I'm trying to get 1,000, we have now 1,000 ministers to march and stand up for justice. We started this really because so many people saw ministers gathered around the president to give the appearance of anointing what he was doing. And the question kept coming, what do the ministers who believe in justice, who believe in the gospel, why are we not present? So Reverend Sharpton and Dr. Richardson and others called for this march. And then, of course, you know what happened in Charlottesville, so that added additional urgency to do this. So the image is 1,000 clergy, not just gospel ministers, 1,000 people of faith, 1,000 clergy to stand together, whatever kind of faith tradition you have, to say in one voice, we go to Dr. King's monument, where hope is now looking toward the future, and look at what happened the other day. They had hate looking backward, and now we plan to march forward. So we're going to march from Dr. King's monument to the Department of Justice. Your
flyer says, recommitting people of faith and conscience to MLK's dream. What was the dream?
The dream was that, and really, Reverend, I thought about this yesterday when we talked about the woman who was killed, Heather Heyer. And one of the things that Dr. King said, that the sons and daughters of slaves and the sons and daughters of slave owners will walk together for justice. And that woman got killed trying to do justice. And so the image is, Dr. King's dream was that we would be together, but not just together so we could have a kumbaya, but together for justice. And so now we have Islam, we have Muslims, Jewish brothers and sisters, Christians, all the denominations are on board, and we're looking so forward to it. Sister Grant, Sister Lucas is the administrator for the whole march. I'm the coordinator for the march. But the reality is, we want this image and this power, 1,000 united people of faith walking together from the Dr. King Monument to the Department of Justice to demand justice.
Okay, so Sister Lucas, when a person comes to the march, what should they expect?
Well, they should expect a very organized system. When they get off the bus, and some will be coming as individuals, but when they get off, we'll meet them there. We'll give them some buttons, and then we'll get them together. We're going to have a pre-program starting at the MLK, and then we'll march, and we'll step off from there and head to the Department of Justice. Well, we'll have the culminating program. We'll have lots of speakers there. So it's going to be hopefully a very inspirational, something that's going to have some action come out of this.
And it's also the 54th anniversary exactly of the Great March on Washington that Dr. King led so well. It's called at the time it was called the March for Jobs and Freedom. But it's the 54th anniversary. It's Monday during the week. We're going to the Department of Justice. We're going to say to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, no, you cannot roll back the Voting Rights Act. No, you cannot take away access to what we're doing, police reform in this community and getting police to be less violent in our community. And no, we're not going to have this administration turn back health care. And we're going to say no to what they want to do against justice and yes to justice.
So you want the ministers and preachers and faith community of Charleston to join you in Washington, D.C.?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have our mobilization efforts. We're going to have a bus that leaves from Charity Missionary Baptist Church on Sunday evening, hopefully after all of the faith houses have had their services. It'll be later on that afternoon. We'll travel up to Washington, D.C., get ready for the march, and when the march is concluded, we'll come on back. There's an Eventbrite that's out there that's called 1,000 Ministers March Charleston Bus Ride. So if you go to Eventbrite, you'll be able to find it.
Okay, so you want us to come and join you in Washington, D.C. And so when we get back to Charleston, what can we expect to happen?
To follow
among
up
the
on
faith-based
what
community?
We do there, many millennials ask us the same thing. It's time for action. 2018 election is coming up. We can't sleep on that. We also have this issue going on now about what to do about these monuments and what is the status of hate and the injustice that came out of what happened in Charlottesville. But in our communities all across the country, unity of purpose. A lot of people now calling us. The phones are ringing. We're getting emails. We're getting texts because all of a sudden what seemed to be a march of a few thousand now started to grow because so many people want to have a voice, but an organized voice, a voice that not just talks loud, but gets something done upon our return. So we ask those sisters and brothers of faith, come join us. Don't just sit around and say, I wish I could, this ought to happen, or the one you know, Reverend, all the time, they ought to do something. Well, we are the they. Let's go do something.
Okay, the question would come up. With all of us there in D.C., 1,000 ministers, and I'm praying for more than 1,000, in one spot at one time, what's the safety and the security?
Well, we have been in talks with the police in D.C. area, of course with the Department of Justice, because they work for us. So we're organizing, we have marshals, we have volunteers, and the police department is going to have protection around the march barriers. So there will be ample amount of protection there for anybody that's thinking about maybe something happening during that march.
Okay.
Also, Reverend, you know that D.C. probably has more experience with marches and providing security than any city in the country, or maybe in the world. So they had the Million Man March, no incident. Had 500,000 people just the other day. The Women March, no incident. We don't expect any security issues. The issues really is, are you willing to put your walk where your talk is?
Okay.
Are you willing to walk that talk? You say you want to stand up for justice, come stand with us. Sister Grant and her team have been working hard to make sure all the details are done, mobilizing us across the country, and she can tell we have 40 states now represented among those who express interest and registered on our website. So they would go to the National Action Network website to register, get on the bus. Any questions you have about the march is on the website.
Okay.
It'll answer everything you need to know.
1,000 Ministers March for Justice, recommitting people of faith and conscience to MLK's dream. Now, you can catch the bus at Charity Missionary Baptist Church on Sunday, August 27th, and later the evening, and returning immediately after the march is concluded. 1,000 Ministers March for Justice. Don't forget, August 28th at the Martin Luther King Jr. Monument, Washington, D.C. They're gathering at 10 a.m. The pre-program is at 11 a.m. and the march begins at 12:15. And for more information, visit www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call Trudy Lucas, 646-629-1684, or T. Grant at nationalactionnetwork.net. Thank you for being on Bounce Around Charleston, and I hope to see you in Washington, D.C.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.